This next video is going to take you through exactly step by step what you need to do once that box arrives with all of your beautiful trim. We put together the perfect recipe for you. The right amount of stems, the right amount of ornaments, the right amount of ribbon, everything that you need to curate a beautiful tree for Holiday 26. Even the topper, all the sprays that make the beautiful topper, we've already selected those for you as well. Let's get started, and as always, happy decorating. Hey everybody, so today we're going to be introducing to you the Winter Frost tree bundle for 2026. I want to actually take you through each of the elements that will come when you order the bundle itself. And so as we've talked about during other videos, the tree bundles are a great way to take all of the guesswork out of a designer tree. We're going to send you the stems, the ribbon, the ornaments, everything you need to create a perfectly curated designer tree. The only thing you don't have to worry about getting from us is going to be the tree and the tree skirt. So you're on your own for those two things, but everything else is going to make this really easy for you. So let's go ahead. We're going to get started. First of all, filler ornaments. Those are always the first thing that we start with. You're going to receive a few different types of filler ornaments. First is this really cool, look at this neat textured, fuzzy almost snowball. Those are going to be the first thing that we'll put into the tree once we get going here. So that's number one. Number two are going to be these great onions. You know we like a lot of finish and shapes. This has got a matte white finish, very different than the glittered finish of that snowball, and it's a different shape, which is really important in the design process. Then we're going to move on to another really great ornament, which is this smaller ornament, but it's got the glittered finish and it's shinier. So frosting on the bottom, glittered stripes, shiny, so you can see we've got this mix of finishes, which is really important in the design. And then we're going to move to this open-faced ornament, which is a little bit more beaded and in silver, so we're going to bring in a little bit of that silver. And then in terms of another filler ornament, we've got this fantastic, it's almost opaque, but look at the snow finish on it with a little bit of that silver, so you're pulling the entire theme together with the opaque frostiness, a little bit of that snow, and then the silver. And then in terms of a few other ornaments for the tree, these acrylic snowflakes are fantastic, and we've got them in two sizes. So you're going to have the larger snowflake here, and these are shatterproof, which is fantastic. Actually, everything that we've looked at is shatterproof, and then the smaller version right here. And we'll show you where we put those on the tree once we get going here. And then we've got three glass ornaments that we're going to really use at the end of the design project. And so we've got an icicle that's clear glass, one that's a little bit more opaque with some white glitter on it, and then this iced ornament, which is really, really pretty as well. So we'll get to those. That's what we've got for ornaments. Ribbon, we've got some really fantastic ribbon, and I'm gonna just highlight for you guys, the actual bundle will come with these three ribbons. So you're gonna get this beautiful white with the silver specks in it. It's almost got like a snowy finish on it. This beautiful green moss velvet, and then the 1 inch, it's almost a silver metallic. In the design video, or in the video that we're doing today, these ribbons weren't available. So we're gonna be using two others, but just know when you get your actual bundle, it's gonna have these three in it. So very similar, you'll get the same effect, but just wanna call that out. Then stems. You guys know this is what transforms a tree, is all of the layers of stems, and we actually are using several. We're going to start off with pine. I always like to add some different pine into the tree itself, so we're going to start off with this really beautiful frosted pine. It's just really airy, really fun. It's got a few little pine cones on it. Then we're going to move into this frosted cedar. Look at how nice that is. It's such a pretty frosted color. So we're going to go ahead, put that in next. And then we talk about you need crab apples and bay leaves. This is going to be our crab apple, and we're actually pairing it up with a really cool holly spray. You guys know I talk a lot about one stem is great, but when you pair it with a complementary stem, it just takes it to a completely different level. So we've done the pairing here with this crab apple that's got the white texture on it with a little bit of silver, so you can see the theme come together. And then look at how nicely that plays off of that dark green. Then we're gonna move into a magnolia leaf, and I'm gonna point this out as well. So this is a smaller version of the actual leaf that will come in your bundle. The bundle will have one that's much longer, a little bit bigger leaves, but again, that wasn't available yet, so at least you can see what you will receive just in a larger form. And finally, we're gonna get into some of the actual bay leaves. So talk about bay leaves, we're gonna use this white bay leaf with this really nice silver. It's a matte silver, so this play on texture and finish again. Look at the silver glittered with some of these matte berries, and we're doing the pair again. We're doing the combo, and we're gonna put those together before we actually put those in the tree. And then one more pairing. So look at how neat this flocked, which is really a velvet, berry is with this mistletoe. I love how this is really airy. This is a little bit heavier, so you're creating the movement with this and the weight with the berry. And then we're gonna end with a few other fun ones. This one here, look at how nice that is. These are gonna be used towards the end as we fill in some of the holes, so that's gonna be really neat. Along with this juniper spray, look at how neat this is. This is gonna provide a little bit of shine, a little bit of glitter and shimmer, and also pull in that frosty green. And then we've got our poinsettia. So every project needs a poinsettia, right? This is gonna match perfectly. Look at how that pairs perfectly with the holly leaf. This will also create some weight in the design, fill in some of those holes. And then we wanna pull in a little bit of silver. So this winter berry spray here, not only does it have a berry on it, but it's got a little bit of movement. So look at the grass and the movement on this. It's gonna be phenomenal. And the last stem that we're gonna use is this white stem here, which is actually part of the topper itself. And this is going to be fantastic. So this will pull in all of the elements in the tree, and then we're gonna get over into the topper next. And so this is everything that's gonna go on the tree. We now move to the topper. Okay, and then finally your topper. And the topper, you guys know, we never like to do just a simple topper. We wanna make it fantastic. We wanna make it really, really different and really, really awesome. And so we're using stems to do that. And what we're going to do is start with this really fantastic stem here, which is, look at this. Look at all of the movement you have with this larger stem, and the coloring couldn't be more perfect. This is going to really, I think, set the foundation for the topper. 5 of these will be received with the 7.5 foot tree bundle. So we're gonna start with those. Then we're gonna move in and we're gonna add, look at this willow, you guys. This is fantastic. White willow frosting. It almost looked like it's been snowed on. That's going to be added to the really, really neat looking green here. Then we're gonna come back through, and I talked about this stem. We're using this in the tree. We always wanna pull an element from the tree into the topper. So these, it's almost like a tree stem, or a pick, I should say, that we are gonna be using. Nice vertical interest, and it provides a little bit of weight in the topper. And then finally, one more element that we'll be pulling in from the tree, and that's a little bit of silver. And it's just got a different shape with the round berry, also some movement with this grass. So we're pulling 2 stems or 2 sprays that we're using in the tree into the topper, which creates really great continuity as we continue the tree design. So these are the 1, 2, 3, 4 different elements that you're going to be receiving as part of your tree topper. And when you receive the actual product, you're going to want to set aside, you know, the ones that are for your topper versus the ones that are for your tree. And when the team actually packs up the bundle, they oftentimes will make sure that they put these in a separate bag with a label on there, so you don't have to worry about trying to figure it out. But in case somebody forgets, want to make sure that you guys are seeing it here. So those are all of the elements that we're actually going to be putting on the 7.5 foot tree. All right, everybody, so we're going to start first with the filler balls, and those are always the things that create the weight. Everyone says, hey, how do you start this project out? Filler balls are going to be the thing that you start with first. You can do it in other orders, that's totally fine. This is just what works really well for us. And so we're going to start with the largest elements first, and we have 2 of these ornaments that we're going to start with. First is this really fantastic opaque ball that's got the white snow texture on it with the glitter. And then look at these, you guys. I love how these look, and they look great together. So you're gonna get 12 of each of these in the 7.5 foot tree, which is what we're decorating today. And just remember, with the 7.5 foot tree, think 12s. You're gonna use 12 of everything typically. Sometimes we might deviate, we might move away, we might reduce that number based on the size of something, but for the most part, you're gonna be using 12. The 9 foot, you're gonna move up to 18, and when you get to 12 foot, you're gonna move to 24. But we're decorating the 7.5 foot tree today. So with the filler balls, the ticket is make sure you're going deep inside the tree. I think a big mistake that a lot of people make is they start putting them out here, and you're sucking up real estate that you might wanna use for your more ornate ornaments or even your icicles. So we're gonna start with the first element, which is gonna be this larger snow-covered ball here. Love the movement on that. And so for this particular video, I'm not taking the tags off, but you should make sure you're cutting all of the tags off. And I'm also gonna talk a little bit about using the actual ornament string. I didn't cut all the ornament strings off because a lot of this product will be sold. But when you get these ornaments, one of the things you might want to consider doing, if there's a hoop or a loop where you can put a wire through, use florist wire. In this example, that does not exist. So this is actually built into the ornament. So one thing that you're going to want to do when you install these particular types of ornaments is, like I said, get it deep inside the tree. And then what we don't want to see is this long, hanging ornament hanger, right? What we want to see instead is just the ornament. And so we're gonna do this thing where we actually twist that particular string all the way around the branch, and then we're gonna tuck that in. So see how that's nice inside, and we've got that's wrapped around the branch, so we're not seeing a big long string come down. We've got just an ornament nicely secured inside, and look at all of the real estate that we still have for our other ornaments and stems. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna go through, and we're gonna do this in triangles. I always tell people nobody wants to see another ornament right below it. See how that's too vertical, or right next to it, that's too horizontal. But instead we're gonna go at a diagonal. So we're gonna come down here and we're gonna place this ornament at the diagonal. We're gonna do the twist effect so that we don't see all of that hanger. And then we're gonna take our next one. And so if we've got one here and one here, we're gonna move the next one, and we're gonna probably be down over here somewhere. All right, so our second filler ball, we're gonna go ahead and place these. I should mention too, because I know I'll get the question, this is the 7.5 foot fieldstone spruce. Our best-selling tree, comes in every size. So just know this is our fieldstone in case you're wondering. So we're gonna go ahead now and add the next filler ball, and these are around 6-inch ornaments. So what we wanna do here, and sometimes if you're having a hard time figuring out where to start things, and you can see this is where I've added wire. I'm telling you guys, adding wire to these ornaments makes it way faster, and you'll see that in a second here. But what we're gonna do, and don't be afraid either, you'll notice I hung an ornament kind of low over here. Once we get a lot of stems on here that are coming out, this is going to create really great dimension, and we're gonna wanna make sure that we're coming down low as well. It's one of the things that people forget to do is decorate the bottoms as well as the backs. So let's go ahead with this. We're gonna pop one of these in right here, and you're gonna see how quickly you can get these installed. Look at with the wire, boom, there you are. And we're just gonna keep going. We're gonna add 9 to 12 of these, depending on what the bundle recipe for the bundle you select comes with. And you're gonna follow the same principles. All right, we're gonna go ahead and do one more filler ornament before we move into ribbon, and that's gonna be this onion. And again, different finish and different shape, really important because we've got 6-inch balls in here already, and some of these have glitter, sparkle, some of this more texture. This is matte, flat, and white, and different shapes, got a little bit of ridging. So nice to have something that's gonna break this up a little bit, and we'll be able to actually hang some of these at a little bit of an angle so you see the bottom of the onion. We'll go ahead, we're gonna get all of these in as well, and then we're gonna move on to ribbon. All right, so we have all of our filler ornaments in, and I'm sure for some of you, you're like, okay, this isn't looking maybe exactly as I thought it would. That's okay, because now we're gonna start entering into the phases where we're gonna really add the texture and the movement. But the point of the filler ornaments are to fill in some of the gaps in the trees and to also create some weight. You don't want a bunch of small ornaments or all hanging ornaments. You need to create weight. That's what our human eye needs and wants and desires. And so that's what this is doing. It's creating, different spaces for your eye to go to. And once we actually get through adding some of the stems and the floral, you're gonna see some of this just peek out, and that's the layering effect that it's creating. That's what's taking you from just a regular decorated tree to a designer tree with lots of layers, lots of movement, lots of texture, and lots of finish. And so this is all part of the process. As we start adding ribbon next, you're gonna start to see it come to life. Then we'll put the topper on, and then we're gonna start in with our stems and sprays. So taking a break from ornaments for a little bit, and we're now gonna pivot and move into ribbon. Okay, everybody, we're gonna move on to the next phase, which is the 2.5-inch ribbon. And so a little bit different technique. We're actually gonna be creating mini bows, right? And so there's two ways we can do this to attach to the tree, but essentially we're going to make about a 12-inch tail, and we're going to then twist just like this. So you've now got the back of the ribbon on one side and the front of the ribbon on the other side, and we're gonna create a loop, just like that. So maybe 6-7 inches, and then we're gonna twist one more time, holding this in between your thumb and index finger, and we're going to create a loop about the same size as the one across from it. You can always do this if you're not sure. And you're just gonna hold all of that together, okay? So see how I'm pinching that with 2 fingers, and now we're going to find 2 of those pieces of PVC again. So right here looks like a pretty good spot. We're gonna go deep inside the tree. We're gonna hold on to that so it doesn't come undone, and we're gonna give it just a good twist. In place really well, and we're going to fluff our loops, just like that. One side is gonna go up, and look at how great this ribbon is. It just stays wherever you put it. We're gonna manipulate that up here a little bit, and the other tail we wanna have coming out. And the best way to do it, again, our fishtail technique. So we're gonna go ahead, we're going to fold and cut, and then make sure you give it a little bend. You want this to look very natural, not straight out like this, but like nice and natural, and this ribbon works really well. Silver back on this, so it's gonna match really nicely with our theme. And we're gonna do the same thing on this tail. And you can do this ahead of time if you prefer. Just give it a nice little cut. And we're just gonna tuck that in and make it look natural. So you can see we've got this really nice flow now of ribbon that's kind of coming out a little bit. And we'll be moving it around as we get our stems in place, but starting to fill in, and we're gonna go ahead and probably make, I would say, anywhere from 7 to 9 of these throughout a 7.5-foot tree. So one thing you can do, you can also use florist wire if you wanna keep that bow together before you actually find the loop. That way next year when you are taking this down and you wanna put it back up, you've got your bows already made. You don't have to retie them. It's whatever you're most comfortable with. I do it both ways depending on what the design is and how much time I have. But we're gonna go through, like I said, apply about 7 to 9 of these, and then we're gonna move on to florals and stems, which is always a lot of fun. So here we go. Hey everybody, so now it's time to move on to the topper. And I think for a lot of people, the topper can be a little bit daunting, but it really isn't. And here's the thing to remember, when you receive the bundle, we're gonna have the topper stems separated into a bag that's marked topper. So you're gonna know exactly what you're going to be using as you get to this step. The big thing to remember when you're using stems for a topper is that you do not wanna have it placed all at the very top of the tree. You want the topper to seem like it's actually coming out from the tree. It's built into the tree itself. And so we're always gonna start about 12, maybe even 18 inches down, depending on the size of your tree. And we're gonna go ahead and use some of the branches of the tree and the PVC to lock some of these in place. But think of it as arranging a bouquet of flowers, okay? And so you're gonna do all of one element first. So we're gonna start with this really great green frosted stem. And I love this stem because it just has so much texture. It's so large and it really will fill in the space really nicely. And again, so we've got our first one here. And so we're gonna start just placing these just like you're arranging flowers, really. But the goal is that you wanna create an even crown at the top of the tree. And so we'll place that one there. And we'll play around with these branches once we get all of them in. And what's nice about using stems is that all of these stems are high quality stems, and it's gonna let you really bend and manipulate some of the branches as well, which is gonna be really important. And the other thing with toppers is you're gonna wanna step back periodically to make sure that you have even movement. All right, so from there, we're gonna move on to the white willow stem. This one's nice because it looks like it's been outside frosted with some snow texture on it. And we're going to just mix this in. Again, like think about this as you've got your roses in place. Now you're gonna add, your next kind of flower when you're putting a flower arrangement together. In the vase, you want things to be evenly spaced throughout the topper. And that's what we're gonna do as we put this next element in. And one way to kind of consider that is start by placing one in the middle. You can get a step stool if you need to. On a 7.5 foot tree, I'm just tall enough where I can kind of manipulate without getting one. But if you start one in the middle like that, then you know that you can take the 4 and place around it. And we'll come back through and actually manipulate some of those branches once we get them all in. All right, we'll add one in back here. You can see what the stems and floral do. That really adds a lot of texture to the tree, and I can't wait to start doing the same thing as we get into the tree body itself. But look at all of that movement already. So we've got 2 of these left. If you step back and look, I can see that we need one right down here, I think. And then we'll place one right back here. All right, that's looking good already. So then we're gonna go ahead with these really neat white, like little mini trees almost. But again, some really nice glitter on that. It's gonna look great with some of the other elements that we've used so far. And these are gonna add a little weight. So a lot of this was really airy with movement. This is gonna help give this topper a little bit of weight. I can see there's a spot right here that could just use a little filler. We'll start by putting one in right there. And again, we're using 5 of each of these on a 7.5 foot tree. And if you're somebody who wants a bigger topper, maybe you want more of a certain stem, when you purchase the bundle, you are able to add additional stems. If you know you're going to use more of something, you can add those to your cart while you're adding the bundle, which makes it really easy. Maybe you know you're going to use some of this in a mantle as well, and you want to have some extra of the same elements. That is an option that you can do online. And you're gonna hit some of the other stems as you move along, but just kind of move around the stem. Don't be afraid to kind of manipulate if you need to, bend some of these stems around if you need to. All right, we've got one more of these. I actually think we're gonna put it right over here. Okay, and the very last thing that we're gonna use are the silver winterberry spray, and this has got some grassy texture on it, which is gonna be nice too, but again, it's got a rounded shape on it. We haven't used any round up here, and you're gonna see as we pull in some of the elements into the tree, we've got some berries. So I wanna pull that rounded shape into the tree as well. And so we're gonna do 3 of these just to add a little hit of silver. And what I might do is actually come up here so I know that I'm in the center. Got one there. And I think we'll just do the sides on these as well. There we go. All right, so there's our topper. I think we are all set. We're ready to move into the really fun part. I love doing stems. That's one of my favorite parts of the entire tree, is to be able to do some of the stems, the sprays, add all of that texture. And so that's what we're gonna start next with. From there, we'll move into a few other ornaments, and then we're gonna finish up with all of our glass ornaments, our glass icicles, and that's what we're gonna save these chips for. So we're gonna go ahead, move into stems and florals next, and watch this tree come to life. Okay, everybody, it's now time to move on to stems and sprays, which is always one of my favorite parts of decorating the tree. We're gonna start with adding some pine. So this really pretty frosted spruce, and it's got, it almost got like little mini frosted pine cones on there. But I love the movement of this. It's almost like a frosted Norfolk in some ways. We're gonna take 12 of these and we're gonna put those throughout the tree. And when you're putting all of your stems and sprays on the tree, make sure that you are using the sweep of the branch. So you're gonna wanna actually place all of your stems and sprays with the branching of the tree, coming down just as the tree would fall naturally. What you want to avoid is doing anything where you've got this happening, or where you've got, you know, maybe something like unnaturally growing. That's what you want to avoid. So we're gonna always lay on the branch, and we're gonna just kind of start right in the middle, and we're gonna do the triangle effect just like we talked about when we were doing the filler balls. So we're gonna go ahead, sometimes you can actually manipulate the branches of the tree around it so it looks like that it's all kind of part of the tree itself. That also allows us to keep these tips here free for our icicles and ornaments. We want to use as much real estate as we can, and this is going to allow us to do the layering effect. So we're going to go through with this beautiful stem plus the frosted cedar. There's going to be 12 of each of those. We're going to take those throughout the whole tree, and then we'll come back and we'll move on to some of our really cool pairings. Okay, we're gonna start next with these really pretty frosted cedar sprays. Same technique. We're gonna go ahead and just lay them on the sweep of the tree, just like this. And look at how that light picks that up. That is really pretty. So cedar is a nice variation from what we just used. It's gonna look really nice in there. Okay, so we've got those two elements in place, and look at this already. It's just coming to life. Look at how we've got this texture, all of the movement with both of these stems on here, the glitter and shimmer. It looks really great. We're gonna go ahead and add in our magnolia stem next. And remember, when you receive this bundle, it's gonna be much longer. It's gonna be about this long. It'll have some other leaves on it. But because those aren't available when we're doing this video, we're just gonna go ahead and use the shorter version of this and get those placed in the exact same technique as we've done with all of these. These are gonna add a little bit more weight. You can see against the pine and against the cedar, these provide the weight that we need, just like some of the larger ornaments have done when we were on that phase. So let's go ahead, 12 of these. We're gonna get all of these placed as well. Okay, everybody, we're moving on to the next really great combination, which is the glittered bay leaf, which you guys know we have this in every color, every tree, every wreath, every swag, every garland needs a bay leaf. And we're gonna pair it with this really pretty matte silver cedar berry spray. And I love the combination of these two together. It's got the airiness of the cedar, it's got the rounded, weightier element in the berry, and then it's got the bay leaf, which you just can't go wrong with this bay leaf. So we're gonna go through 12 of these as well, and we're just going to start placing those. And I think this is where you're gonna really start to see the tree transform. It already is in terms of the texture and of all of the different finishes coming together. you're gonna make sure that you fluff these out really well, just like this. And then lay the silver on top of the white. Feel free to mix in some of the white leaves so they look like one stem, and you're good to go. All right, everybody, we're now gonna move on to some other stems and sprays. And I know you guys have heard us talk before, crab apples and bay leaves. We're gonna focus on the crab apple first, but we're gonna do a pairing. I love how the crab apple looks with this particular holly spray. And pairings always elevate your design no matter what. They're beautiful all on its own. I mean, that's a very pretty stem just by itself. But look what happens when we add it with this velvet holly leaf that's got just a little bit of the white frosting on the tips. Really accentuates all of the frosting and all of the coloring that's in this crab apple. And this crab apple is actually pulling out some of the silver, which we're using in the design as well. So the marrying of the two of them together just makes this absolutely amazing. We're gonna go ahead, and I've taken the crab apple and the holly leaf, and before we've even started, I've made sure that we are connecting these together. So what I like to do is just take this and just pull some of the stems through so it looks like it's one piece versus just laying it on top of each other. If you do that before you start decorating, it just makes everything go a lot faster. And remember, make sure you're pulling your tags off and you're getting everything nice and tidy. A good fluff on all of these stems is also gonna make it look a lot better as well. So we're gonna go ahead, 12 of these. We're gonna get them placed in, and then we're gonna move into a bay leaf pairing, and we'll tackle those next. Okay, everybody, we're gonna do one more combo. And so this is going to be a really pretty mistletoe spray. Look at how this drapes. I love that. It's airy, it's not too heavy. And then we're pairing that with a flocked or velvet white berry. And I think that's really pretty. It almost looks like snow texture. It's got a little bit of shimmer on it. So this is gonna be our next combo spray that we go ahead and place into the tree, following the exact same protocol and technique that we used for the rest of it. Now you might be saying to yourself, I don't know that I have a lot of branches that don't already have something on it. It's okay. The thing to do here is find spots where you see a lot of green. And that's what you're gonna wanna focus on. We're gonna wanna make sure that that green is not a focus spot. We want it to be completely covered with all of our beautiful textured sprays, stems, and even ornaments, which we're gonna get to in a second here. So let's go ahead, get these placed, and then we'll come back and we'll start talking about what we're going to do with ornaments and with poinsettias. And let me highlight what I did there. You see, to keep kind of the triangles going on so we don't end up with things that are all in a row, I actually layered this combo on top of the green pine that we put in earlier. It's totally fine. You just now have a trio of stems. Look at how great that looks together. But that makes sure that my placement stays aligned. Okay, everybody, so we're down to really just a couple elements left before we put our icicles on. This is a really pretty silver glittered winterberry spray, same as the one that we have up in the topper. Again, we want the continuity, so we're pulling the topper into the tree. We have 12 of these. It's the it's one of the only other silver accents, so I think this is gonna add a really great punch, and it's one of the most glittered accents. So against the light on the trees and the natural light coming in, the glitter is always really pretty. So let's go ahead, we're gonna place 12 of these, and then we're getting close to the end. Okay, our very last two stems, and what I like about these is they're shorter, really more like a pick. And what's great is that we're gonna use these to fill in all the little gaps, all the little holes, all the little spaces that just need a little bit of filler. So like right here where we've got a little bit of a flat spot, We're gonna use something like this, and look what that does. We're just gonna pop that in. So now we're kind of throwing out the whole triangle technique, and we're just looking for holes. You know, right up here in the top where we need a little something right here. Look at how great this is gonna be. We're just gonna pop that in, and don't be afraid to kind of bend and twist it around a little bit. But look at that, we filled in our little hole there. We're gonna go through, we've got 12 of each of these. So this is the juniper, this is the little winterberry, and we're just gonna use all 24 of those stems around the whole entire tree. And then the last thing that we're gonna do is hang our glass icicle ornaments. Okay everybody, we're gonna take a little bit of break from the sprays and berries, and we're gonna move into the stems and floral. So stems and floral are anything that are a single bloom, an amaryllis, a poinsettia, a hydrangea. What's nice about these is they actually bring weight into the design. And so much like an ornament, especially a larger ornament, that's what these floral and stems are gonna actually do in the tree. We've got 12 of these, and we're going to place those just like we would an ornament. We want them inside the tree a little bit, but not so far in that you're not being able to see the detail on it and the color. This green is an accent color, and so I want to make sure that we're pulling that out and we're making that consistently applied throughout the entire tree. So let's go ahead, we're going to add 12 of these to this 7.5 foot tree. Okay, we're gonna go ahead now and add in a medium-sized shatterproof ornament. This is about 120 millimeters, probably around 4.75 inches. What I like about this is it's pulling off the green, and so we haven't used a lot of the green. This is gonna be the last element in the design that actually pulls our green in, and it's just a shade darker than some of the other greens that are in here, and I like that play on finish and that play on color. It also has the frosting and a little bit of silver, which is gonna make this a perfect complement. Again, I've gone through and wired these. It makes it so much easier when you're decorating to have the florist wire on there instead of the actual tree hanger. So 12 of these as well. We're gonna go ahead and we're going to get those placed. Another thing I should point out, when you're placing your ornaments, please do not do this, where you've got like wire hanging down and it's kind of dangling all over. We want these ornaments to be hung right tight to the tip of the branch. And see how that's nice and snug? You don't see any wire or any cord hanging down. It's right at the bottom of the tip. Okay everybody, we're gonna move on now to the last of the filler ornaments or the medium-sized ornaments before we get to the icicles. And I love these acrylic snowflakes for a couple of reasons. One, they're basically shatterproof. So, you know, if you have children or pets, these are a really safe option. The other thing I love about these is that clear acrylic or clear glass reflects natural light. And so even when your tree isn't turned on, you're going to get the reflection of the light that comes in through your windows, and that adds a lot of dimension to a design project. And then finally, I like the center of this because it really coordinates with all of the frostiness that we already have going on in this tree. So here's the thing with a flat ornament that I think is important to remember. I think the inkling is to go ahead and just hang it like this, but I'm gonna give you a twist on that. Hang it at an angle instead. And so what we're going to do is we're gonna come through with 9 of these. I've added wire, and it's gonna be really important that you add wire, pull off the strings that come with these so that you can get in there and really tie these tight around the branches once you have the angle that you desire. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna find the place where we'd like this to rest, and we're gonna go deep inside the tree, and then we're going to twist the wire on there really snugly, just like that. And then we're gonna actually pull this back out, and we're gonna rest it up against the branches. So look at what we've done there. We've got this ornament that's now coming out of the tree versus flat against the tree. The whole point of adding all of this texture is so that we're not just decorating the outer side of the tree, we're actually decorating the entire tree from the inside out. And so this is going to add just another I think, visual interest to people coming in and looking at your tree. What you'll find as we add the rest of these is we're not going to always go in the same direction. We'll go this way here. We might come out a little more directly here. We'll come out at an angle on this side over here, but we're not gonna wanna put them across from each other or vertically in line with each other. We're gonna do the staggered approach again. So 9 of these large 12-inch snowflakes, we're gonna go ahead and get those inserted, and then we're gonna move to a really pretty green shatterproof ornament. Okay everybody, we're gonna move on to the last ornament, and that's gonna be this really pretty open-faced silver beaded ornament. And I like this because it's totally different than anything else we have on the tree. You can see I put one in the tree right here. I think it looks really nice. And we're gonna have 12 of these that we're gonna add throughout the entire tree. So we've got one right here. We'll go ahead and now start to find little places, again, using the same principle of creating the small triangle. So we've got this staggered approach. And then we're gonna be moving into the final 3 or 4 stems, and then we'll get to the icicles and the tree is complete. All right, so these are the exact same snowflakes as the 12-inch, except in a smaller version. We're gonna go through, put these on in the exact same way. So again, we're not gonna be just hanging them, straight on. We're gonna wanna try to come in there and get them at an angle. So let's go ahead, 12 of these, get these added in. Okay, you guys, I wanna highlight something else too. So you see, if you didn't have wire, or you didn't want to use wires, these are the actual strings that come with the ornament. This is what you want to avoid. You don't hang ornaments with all of this cable or string here. You're going to actually hold on to the branch, and you're going to twist it around very tight so that you have the same effect as if you were using wire, just like that, and then you'll angle in. Okay, so we have 7 of these really cool white tree stems that we used in the top. So 5 of them went in the top, 7 left in the tree. We're gonna go ahead and get these put in there. And now you should be looking for holes. So where you have a green spot, where you have maybe a lot more texture in one place, this is your chance to kind of fill in. Let's go ahead. As a reminder, make sure you're fluffing your stems before you put them in the tree. Make sure that you're getting the full value. Hey everybody, we're finally at the point where we're putting on the finishing touches to this tree. I think it's starting to look really, really beautiful. The glass ornaments. So we're gonna be using 3 different glass finial ornaments, really 2 finials and 1 icicle. So this one here is crusted, ice crusted, the larger of the 2. It's really pretty. You're gonna get 9 of those in the bundle. And then this one's got more white in it, but it's still got the clear glass, still a little bit of a finial, 9 of those. And then we're gonna do 12 of just the regular icicles. They look like they fell right off of your house, and we're gonna place those on the tree. Again, clear glass is really important because it reflects both the tree light and the natural light coming in into your home from the windows and doors. So we're gonna place the 2 finials, 9 of each, and then we're gonna place the icicle, 12 of each, and then this tree is complete. So one other tip, as you're putting your icicles on, don't be afraid to actually use the tips of some of your stems as well. They're in there pretty good, and just take the wire and get them close so you're not seeing any wire hanging out. But look at how you've got then a little bit more dimension because you've got them able to hang out of the tree a little bit. With all of the stems and all of the floral that we use, we do create a much wider tree. And so the branches are sometimes back in there a little bit. So use some of your sturdier stems and sprays, and feel free to go ahead and connect your icicles to those. They just pull the shimmer out a little bit. Like look at this, we're just gonna go ahead and wrap this one on here. And you've got like this icicles now that are hanging out further on their branches and can really be noticed. Okay, everybody, so this is winter frost. I hope that you will find a whole bunch of enjoyment out of this beautiful tree. A couple of quick things. The last thing you're gonna wanna do is actually put a tree skirt around the bottom. Make sure that your tree skirt comes out at least 5 to 6 inches from the diameter of the tree. So if you have a 48-inch tree in diameter, try to find a 52-inch tree skirt. The other thing to consider is maybe you want to add a few of your own ornaments. I've had clients who said, I love this theme, but what if I love ice skates? Go ahead, throw a few ice skates on. Or maybe you want to throw on some birds, some white feathered birds, or even some owls on this tree design would be beautiful. Maybe you want to throw on, you know, some sort of gloves or mittens or something that's reminiscent of when you were growing up, or maybe snowmen. I would say as long as you are sticking to a very monochromatic snowman, not bringing in reds or even too many blacks, that would be fine on this tree. So have some fun, but hopefully now you've got yourself a beautiful tree. Feel free now as you evolve it over the years to add in ribbon, add in some other ornaments. And as always, have a great holiday season. Happy decorating. Hey everybody, just want to say thank you for your continued engagement in all of our social media platforms. Your liking, subscribing, and engagement with all of our social media allows us to continue creating content that you hopefully will find enjoyable and inspirational. As always, happy decorating.